Don't thank me too soon, Doc. I don't know if the notification system is working. I've tried going live on my on OBS. Nobody's getting any notifications. Yeah, I might have to wait till later because I don't think it's working. What's going on? Did anybody get notification? Yep, nothing. YouTube sucks today. Yeah, I think it is the Illuminati. This is shitty. If y'all not getting the notifications, how are y'all finding it? Y'all just see it on the side or something? Oh, you just saw on Discord. Fair enough. Let's turn that shit down. And it doesn't want to work. It's a little disconcerting. I had stuff I was going to say. I'm actually working on a presentation. Actually, Doc Savage, you might be interested. It's on the cytotoxic effect of CD8 plus T cells and their ability to, or lack thereof, to infiltrate metastatic colorectal cancer. No, it's not colorectal. Fuck, I keep saying that. It's not colorectal. It's, let me get the exact name. Metastatic pancreatic cancer, PDAC. Yeah, I'm about to say, it sounds like, yeah, this is right up your alley. And then it talks about using granulin depletion to basically restore the infiltration and the invasiveness of CD8 plus. Because from what I understand, I've not read all of it yet, but from what I understand, there's fibroblastic kind of like protective sheath type thing that happens that gives the tumor anti-PD-1 resistance. And so if they deplete the granulin, that allows the CD8 plus to infiltrate it, which that's pretty interesting. So yeah, cells, the stuff that make DNA. Exactly. That stuff. I've not taken immunology yet, so I'm still really fresh with this kind of thing. But I'm looking at this is for my advanced cancer biology course. I got to give a presentation. Well, we all have to give presentations, and so I'm trying to test my ability to read some of these figures. A lot of them aren't hard. Like last time it was heavy, like really heavy with bioinformatics. That was a challenge. But I put over half the class to sleep, so I did something right. So that's it. Yes. If I have questions, I will definitely hit you up, because I do remember you were working with quite heavily with CD8, and I definitely need to work on my immunology. I'll take biochemistry in the summer, and I'm definitely going to be probably more interested in that than organic chemistry. I'm not enjoying organic chemistry at all. Like, no, don't get me wrong. I enjoy the lab, like the lab portion of organic chemistry. I love doing, but like the actual lectures of learning the Wittig reactions and all this shit and pushing the arrows, I'm like, I'm not. I really like. I feel ashamed, but it is not interesting, and the instructor that I have is not the best. So he's a nice guy, but just no. So hopefully biochem is much more fun. Well, biochem 1 and 2, because I had to take 2 in the fall, and then that's it for chemistry. So in total, I would have had, let's see, general chemistry 1, general chemistry 2. This is all including the labs. Organic chemistry 1, organic chemistry 2, biochemistry 1, biochemistry 2. So 6 chemistry courses. Not to mention the chemistry that I normally do in a lab anyway. So just for like my the biotech course that I'm taking, it's pretty much gene expression, learning how to extract RNA and turning it into cDNA and then quantifying it and that sort of shit. And then at the very end, finally get the SAM field where you quantify it using RNA-seq. Yeah, chemistry can be fun. I became fun only after understanding biochemistry. Yeah, that's what I think. That's definitely what I think. Because I find that it's fascinating when we start talking about vitamin B17 and how this genius thinks that for whatever reason, what did he say? He said that the amygdalin would target only the cancer cells and leave the regular cells alone. And I'm like, that's not how that works. That's not how that works at all. And so I said, okay, well, how does that work? Because I'm like, if there's a molecule that does that, we're in the money. Like that's a huge thing. For those of you who don't know, like that's a huge issue with a lot of cancer. Like that's kind of a running joke in the advanced cancer biology course that I'm in, is that, well, while you're trying to vet the efficacy of whatever this drug is, it's like its usual side effect is, oh, by the way, it hinders smooth muscle, tissue. Oh, okay, not a big deal. Oh, wait. Where else is there smooth muscle other than where this tumor just so happens to occur? Huh? Oh man, there's some smooth tissue in a lot of places that you don't want hindered, huh? It's kind of a problem. So that's the, when people say that there's a miracle drug that only targets cancer cells, I'm always a bit skeptical. I'm like, I don't just no. Yeah, it's a heat-seeking missile on the thing. So I've tried to explain before how B17 actually works, and it's actually not that complicated, but there's a way for me to try and explain it to folks so you can understand. Let's see, Dragnet. That's why immunotherapy using antibodies to target tumor cells. Awesome, it is. It really is. Like that's where people are going. People are having, they call therapeutic targets. And so actually the paper that I'm looking at now is talking about a therapeutic target of using granulin, and because it takes away the I'm trying to think of the way that they phrased it. Do it. Okay. Genetic depletion of granulin reduced the formation of the fibrotic stroma, thereby allowing the T cell entry at the metastatic site. Although the metastatic PDAC tumor are largely resistant to PD-1 therapy, blockade of PD-1 in granulin-depleted tumors restored the anti-tumor immune defense and dramatically decreased metastatic tumor burden. Essentially, the tumor found a way around being destroyed. And so what these guys did is they found a way to take away that defense, basically, so that your immune system can then go in and have its super secret ninjas go in and destroy it. There you go. That's so ham-fisted explanation. You may want to talk to Jared about JM Truth. Who is that? And some recent claims. I'm not familiar with JM Truth. Is that another one of these guys that are just saying crazy shit? I don't know what it is. They love Jared. Oh no. I'm presently involved in the development of a patient-specific T cell leukemia. Okay, cool. Awesome. So that we're starting to really get into pharmacogenetics. Then that's what it sounds like. A flirt who claimed to be a former medic. Oh, and a biochemist. Really? He's a medic and a biochemist? Oh, man. He's a medic and a biochemist. All right. So am I. Something tells me that there's a little bit of bullshit. And a physicist too? Man. He did it all. Man. Yes, I did serve in the military. You're absolutely right. He was a combat medic. He was a physicist and a biochemist. I could tell you, I know all of 0 people who are in both fields. If you're pretty good at math, if not that math just comes to you, like you're pretty adept at it, or you just work really fucking hard and get good at it, you're usually into physics. If you're not so much, then chemistry, biology may be your thing. That's the general trend that I see. Not to say that there's definitely math involved in biology and chemistry, but like if you look at how much is involved, physics is way the fuck up there. That's up there with engineering. But it's actually really funny when you talk about it, because there's a collective groan in my laboratory class for the eukaryotic gene expression, where a good portion of our exams are just lab math. It's straight lab math because you need it, And in artillery, men got some stolen valor. Man, look, okay, it's possible. It is possible to go from medic to artillery. It's very possible. Usually, it's the other way around. But I do know of one person who went from medic to I think he did go to artillery, but he was fucking stupid. And I don't know. Like I talked to him, I was like, why would you do that? And he was like, oh, I was just tired of medics. You were tired of stuff that happened in our unit, so you thought that every single other unit you would go to was like that. So you switched MOSs. And then he said, yeah, it was dumb. I was like, yeah, because you once you do that, you don't go back. You can't go back to the school and then do it all over. You stay like that. It is weird like that. But yeah. He thinks 10 to the negative 17 is the negative number. That definitely tells you he's not a physicist, at least. Actually, it tells you he's not a chemist, because when you're first learning chemistry, you do work with usually you're working with stuff 10 to the third power generally. Especially if you're talking about like micromoles or not micro, excuse me, millimoles, not micro. Micro is 10 to the negative 9. You have to work with those amounts quite often. Like 10 to the negative third and 10 to the negative 9 are two quantities that you're going to be using for dimensional analysis. So the fact that he would say something like that tells me that he's not in chemistry, for one, and he's definitely not in physics. Definitely not, because you're working with 10 to the negative 3, 10 to the negative 6, 10 to the negative 9, 10 to the negative 12 in some cases, but not 15, not so much. I think 15 it's femto, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the thing memorized exactly, but because I usually don't have to go that far. Like 10 to the negative 9 is the most that I ever work with. But yeah, that can tell you, like, that's how you know people are full of shit. If they say something like that, like 10 to the negative 6 is a negative number, you know that they've never, because you have to know how to do dimensional analysis. You have to. There's no way that you're working in these capacities and you say something like that. There's just no fucking way. No, so he was wearing a lab coat. Look, you can buy a lab coat for like $60, but you can't get the stains on them unless it's like spaghetti sauce. Y'all want to see what a lab coat looks like when you've worked with it for a while? I recently washed it, but can y'all see that? See that stain? I think that was me spilling a little bit of Oh no, it's something. Von Helton bought a cape. Yes, he did. Oh shit! What got on my collar? On the back of my collar. See that? I don't know what got on my collar. Yeah, there's all type of stains from reagents. Because most of the time I'm working with like hydrochloric acid as a reagent. So in case, oh, here's a mark. Here you go. If you're in wet lab, yeah, pin marks like that, like shit like that is how you know people. What are all these fucking stains? Jesus, I didn't realize I had all these stains on them. That's crazy. But I mean, I'm thinking a part of that's from me spilling hydrochloric. Well, reactions mixed with hydrochloric acid. I don't know. Um, I think that's it. What did Froze say? Let's scroll up. I don't think many people are going to be talking about Von Helton much longer. Yeah, he's not. I just listened to a video of his, and he's boring as fuck. Like he's talking about more conspiracy shit. He have an IQ of 190. Sure, he does. Sure, Von Helton has an IQ of 190. We'll go with that. Sure. I completely believe him and his horse vagina mods. I definitely think so. Yeah. We're going to go with that. While stirring, metastatic PDAP progression. Good old Von Helton. Yeah, the extra zero to that. I think so too. Yeah. Von Helton's smarter than all of us. Is it most thing else boiled down to that? I'm going to talk about going over everything. Malicious hatred. Yeah, I mean, there used to be, believe it or not, there used to be some really good hangouts. Like back before Precept came around, because I think once Precept came up, it that's kind of for me the point where it started to go down, and people were more interested in trying to stump others. Like there was always that thread. There was always that kind of theme of let me try and stump that person, but it was explicit. Like the only purpose to Precept is to stop conversation. You would have people, put you in gotcha questions to effectively it would stop you in your tracks, but then your opponent could gloat and claim victory and yada yada yada. But Precept is just designed to stop any conversation. But the big kicker was that when you get in a conversation, even with Neffy, like there would be a point where he would allow you at least to speak, and you would try to vet each other's positions, and you could actually learn a bit. You could actually inadvertently learn a lot from your opponent as far as their position, or you learn, even if it's like Lunar Bukake, you would still kind of walk away and go, huh, that was interesting. But you don't see that kind of stuff anymore, and that's why a lot of us who have been having these conversations, it's just like, I'm not a huge fan of going over the same shit, which, okay, fair enough. But it's there's nothing any of these guys have added to their repertoire that really wanted to be like appear to be fresh or to try and be innovative. Like it comes down to the same type of fallacious logic that they've been using years ago, that they acknowledge. Like when you tell Neffy that he's fucking misrepresenting somebody, Neffy knows. Like you don't have to tell him. He knows good and damn well he's misrepresenting people. He doesn't care. Is the problem with Neffy. And Neffy will make an excuse as for why he needs to misrepresent people. Like he'll actually give you a conspiracy in some cases as to why he needs to misrepresent people. It's like, stop it. But then he wonders why no one wants to deal with him. One thing, you're not worth anybody's time. Well, Muppets always claim to have superior IQ. I know, right? Like when I talk about IQs, I'm doing it kind of like ironically. I don't really care about IQs. Drag took G-Man to the museum, walked around explaining he didn't get it. No, he didn't. And he claimed that he just didn't want to fight. I don't know why there needed to be a fight. Like, you can disagree. You can say, you know what, I'm still kind of incredulous. And there was a point where he did actually express a bit of incredulity, which is fine. Like, that's perfectly fine. Like, no one told him he couldn't do that. But my issue is that he claimed like he had some fucking ace in the hole, like argument or some shit like that, and then turn around and then his evidence was a satirical fucking website. Like, come on, are you really fooling anybody? Are people actually getting a notification now? Because I see the numbers going up on the viewers. But yeah, I think I've talked to people. I've talked to people on and on and off air. I've talked to people on the phone here, and a lot of us agree that some of the people, school. No, I don't have school on Fridays. A lot of the people who come on here, the Neffys, the G-Man, the Trues, they're coming here looking for affirmation. They're coming here looking for an outlet because in their real lives, they're nobodies. They want to come across as somebody who can be deferred to for knowledge, because that's an honor. That anybody who's ever tutored or taught in any capacity knows that there's a warm fuzzy you get from being able to give somebody information. Let's see. He thinks that all conversations are fights because he thought Sokka and Ned were fighting about this. But yeah, like he didn't understand that Sokka's overall issue with Ned was his approach in that capacity, because he felt that Ned didn't fully appreciate his interlocutor and his handicaps. Excuse me, the handicaps of his interlocutor. Sokka has a completely different issue with Ned as far as his perspective on morale. They just disagree. Me and Sokka disagree on abortion. That's separate. But he can't discern the difference between that. Like, there's a fundamental difference between Ozzy and JD on moral realism. That doesn't mean that Sokka or JD can't critique an interaction that Ozzy has with somebody else, but that's separate from the issue. So he hears what he wants to hear. He sees what he wants to see. If he would have actually taken the time to listen and pay attention to what the fuck people are talking about, he would know that. But he did the very same thing. Like, he said the very same thing when me and him had our debate, and he heard people giving me feedback. He heard Dragnot is a good teacher, but a bad debater. That's what he's telling people. And so the critiques that people actually gave me was that I did not push back on the claims that G-Man made. Well, for one thing, that's actually true, because when you present me with a satirical website, I have no idea how to even address that other than, is this fucking real? Absolutely. I don't know how to deal with absolute fucking nonsense. I'm too busy dealing with actual shit. Like, I'm pointing my other screen over here, like actual shit. Let me show y'all what I'm looking at. Like, this is the kind of shit that I'm used to dealing with here. Like, this is what I'm looking at. So when you give me honey boo boo bullshit, I don't know how to deal with that. So if that's my weakness, I will gladly accept that. But some of us actually have to do shit in real life. Some of us actually have to fucking make progress in the world and just not make up shit. Yeah, I don't see how some of these people live. Genuine. Like, if I had to be just 100, just absolutely transparent, I don't see how some of these people live. I don't think I could live. I'm looking for my fingernail clipper. Okay. No, I just had. God damn it. Anyway, I don't see how so many people live. I don't know how they go through their day-to-day basis. Well, I know Neffy does Intoxicated, but I don't. I would feel some type of way if I was as inept as some of these folks are. Like that would severely cripple my self-esteem if I knew that nobody took me seriously other than people that suck me off in the middle of the night. I'm not that would I think that would really bother me. Because when you ask some of these folks, like, what the fuck have you actually done in life? Like, if you're on here telling people who have masters and PhDs that they're not doing shit, what have you done? Like, in compare, like, what have you actually achieved? Nothing. Like, you've not done anything. So you spent the last few decades with your thumb up your ass. So now you have a platform by which to denigrate other people who've done way more than you have for society overall. But you want people to take you seriously. But it may just be the way that I view life. I'm sure that there's more to life than petty accolades and achievements. Granted, I love fishing. There is no real big achievement in fishing, but I derive as much pleasure from that as I do working in the capacity, enjoying a job. So I don't think that that's the end all be all, but to have somebody who can't type one grammatically correct sentence trying to call out folks who one is an actual instructor, one's a teacher, and the other's working in a fucking fucking lab as a a supervisor, manager type position. I'm trying to remember the exact title. I want to say is the department supervisor in a company that works on biopharmaceutical interventions. I think that's a way of explaining kind of what Doc Savage does to people. But how do you think that you like are obligated to these people's times? How do you in your mind get to that point? The only way that I'm obligated, or some of the people that I interact with are obligated because I pay them tuition. So yes, I am obligated to their time. So I don't know where this dude gets off, but it's a weird form of entitlement. Actually, let me play some of this shit. Yep, and Mel says, of course I'm ignoring him. Yep, see?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to GTV. I am G-Man, your host. Wow, I haven't been on this channel in a little bit. I've been busy with my main channel. I even did something on More If I Got a couple of times and didn't do nothing on this particular YouTube channel, Well, I've been thinking about some things, looking at my recent success with debating negation of pity. And I figure that I throw a challenge out there again. Give the atheists an opportunity, not just the atheists, evolutionists just in general, an opportunity to sort of redeem themselves and properly prepare for immunohistochemistry. This time I'm going to put this challenge out there to Doc Savage or Scientist Mel, or even we can do a 2 against 1. I don't have a problem with that because I would never challenge 2 people of that education level to something I don't know nothing about. Because if I did, I'll be the first one to tell you I'm going to get destroyed. But because I believe we're working on equal footing, and because I believe, actually, I might actually know a little bit more about this than they do, but I'm not that confident about that since we know Doc Savage is we know a little bit about his background, and Scientist Mel does have 4 degrees. It's a little intimidating when we're talking about topics like this. But anyway, this is the challenge.
He's on equal footing, folks. Equal footing.
Scientist Mel, let's start off with you.
Scientist Mel, get your titties here now.
I am interested in having a debate with one of you or two of you at the same time.
Scientist Mel doesn't debate. I don't know why you even asked him.
Cancer. Are the alternatives that I speak about on this channel good alternatives to chemotherapy?
Okay. Right now, he knows a little, given that my details are 2 clicks away. Yeah, he knows maybe a fraction of what he like. It's funny because, folks, remember, I've opened up 2 hangouts where he could come in and challenge me on this topic, seeing that that's literally the field that I'm trying to go into. And he's avoided the fuck out of me. So he said, okay, skip it. I'm gonna move past Dragnet and try to go towards 2 people who have actually worked in labs, who have actually worked in the capacity of dealing with some of these cells. Now, fine, but if you actually listen to his conversation with me about cancer and about vitamin B17, he knows absolutely fucking nothing about this. Let me explain. And I said this earlier for folks who weren't around. He is under the impression that amygdalin, sold sometimes as Laetrile, will have some magical heat-seeking property that can only target cancerous cells. Now, how this molecule knows that, how it targets that specifically is beyond me. I don't know whether it hitches a ride with some type of enzyme, maybe it gets forced through some type of ion channel. I have no idea. And I was trying to ask him, like, how does that happen? Like, what is the mechanism of action? He has no idea what that is. He just knows that it works. So Doc Savage says, it's interesting to me that both of us have stated publicly that we want nothing to do with them. Why challenge Mel and myself? Exactly. I'm looking at messages right now where Mel and Doc Savage say, I want nothing to do with you. He doesn't understand no. Beware of that, ladies. He doesn't understand no at all. It's like he didn't get enough ass whoopings as a child. So if you actually go back and listen to our conversation, I tell him exactly what happens when you consume amygdalin. And for those of you who don't know, I will briefly go over what actually happens if you are curious. And Ken Hovind, pay attention. All right. Now that I'm not playing a fucking game and crashing my ship, I can think more clearly. When you consume amygdalin, Laetrile, apricot seed, whatever, when it passes through your gullet and it reaches your liver, there is an enzyme in your liver that I believe it's the class of enzyme of sulfur transferase, but it is called rhodinase. When it meets rhodinase cleaves off the nitrile group. And what a nitrile group is essentially a carbon that's triple bound to a nitrogen. Looks like that. Okay, well, I tried to write it backwards, but there triple bound. Okay, there we go. Triple bound to a nitrogen. Yeah, so carbon triple bound nitrogen. Stupid camera. This is done, and once it's done, it turns it into something called thiocyanate. Yes, THIOSYANATE, thiocyanate. And then that's what's toxic to you. When you have something that's toxic, let me kind of talk about that, because I think this is important, because every time we get to this toxic thing, people kind of misunderstand. And I think that maybe myself or maybe others go like skip over the toxicity aspect a little bit too much. I don't know. But when I say something's toxic, it disrupts homeostasis in an organism. That's what's typically meant as toxic. Okay. That's what's typically meant. Now, toxicity can occur in a variety of ways. Typically, and you probably heard me say this before, it causes something called competitive inhibition. That's your new term, phrase for today. Competitive inhibition. On the surface of your cells, you have channels, and I mentioned ion channel earlier. You need to have these channels open. They're kind of like, you could think of them as pores that are controlled with energy. They allow certain things to come in, they allow certain things to go out, and that's just to regulate what happens to the cell. Because if you let everything in, the turgor pressure would end up popping the cell in some cases, right? So if you have something that's a competitive inhibitor, it's going to block one of those channels. Because let's say you need whatever to go through here, and that's what it's supposed to do, okay? When you have something like thiocyanate, it ends up blocking that channel so you don't have cellular respiration. Okay, Drag, with cellular respiration, that is how your cells live and breathe, respirate, okay? They need to be able to respirate in order to survive. If you're blocking that, if this molecule, whatever it is being a competitor for these different slots all over the cell can't do what it needs to do in order to maintain itself, and then it dies. What happens when the cell dies? Well, you know what? The tissue dies, because your tissues, your organs, are made of cells. Okay. Thiocyanate acts as a competitive inhibitor. It specifically blocks cytochrome oxidase, and I think that's cytochrome 3, if y'all want to go look that up. Cytochromes are essential in the process of cellular respiration, particularly for the electron transport chain portion of it. And when you're blocking that, oh, check Discord. Okay. There we go. So, thiocyanate, oh, it's with an S. Okay. Right. Did I say S? Okay, my bad. I meant to say C. Thank you. Somebody caught that. Okay. Yes, it's THIOCYANATE. Yes. I didn't realize I said S. Yes, thiocyanate. Cyan like the color blue. So when you consume this, it acts as a competitive inhibitor, and it ends up killing the cell. Now, someone mentioned in chat, well, Veckel takes it. Yes. If you look up cases of people consuming, you can look it up as Laetrile or amygdalin. You can look up either one. There's a few cases. For an adult, you actually have to consume, I want to say, a few hundred milligrams of this stuff. And if you look up the toxicity of thiocyanate, is it's actually long-term exposure. You'll see that term come up a lot. Long-term exposure. It's not one of those things where you consume an ounce of this and you're dead. There's a few compounds that exist that are like that, where they'll strip every electron from here to your fucking dick. But that's not how that works. That's not how this works. When you have something that's a competitive inhibitor, it has to actually build up over time. Now, if Veckel starts taking, I don't know, like, if he starts taking 400 milligrams every day, Veckel will die. That's just a fact. That's not me being mean. That's just a fucking fact. That is a lot. Your liver can only process so much of this stuff. It eventually, some of it will be excreted. That's inevitable. But if enough of it builds up, if enough of it can't be expelled, then it will cause inhibition on a massive scale, and then you will have tons and tons of cells die off. Now, one of the targets, from what I understand, is your thyroid, and so it has quite a penchant for targeting the thyroid. Imagine if a bunch of the cells on your thyroid start dying. You're gonna have a few endocrine issues, huh? So Dr. Savage says, side issue with B17 is the absence of dose accuracy. In an unregulated product, there's no requirement for accurately control the substance. The bats there, yeah. And so when you actually know how to extract the active ingredient in a pill, you can determine how much of it's actually in there. So I give you, trying to see if I have any like aspirin or something like this. When you look at like a pill of aspirin, it'll say on there, this pill contains 50 milligrams of aspirin, of acetylsalic acid. And is it acetylsalic acid? Yeah, see, yeah. Okay, I just said it right. Acetylsalic acid, yeah. Now, when you put a pill of aspirin on any weigh scale, it says 50 milligrams, 10 milligrams, 3,000 milligrams. You put it on there, it's not going to weigh that much. There are actually ibuprofen that are 3,000 milligrams. They come in like big old bottles like this. The pills are that big. Don't ask me how I know that. But so when you put them on there, they're going to weigh more. That's because they have a binder on them. And if you have the raw active ingredient just kind of sitting there, they tend to degrade. That they tend to do that. If that's why you'll see certain pill bottles will have extra like covering or layer on them to kind of prevent the light, because the light will actually elicit a reaction from them, or just exposing them to oxygen will elicit a reaction. So you have a binder to keep it protected, and so that it actually goes to it, especially if it's extended release, though there's a certain part in your GI system that it needs to release in. And so that's what those binders are for. You can separate the binder, which is like cellulose usually, and take out the active ingredient and put it in like a separatory funnel, and you can actually distill. You can put it in the organic phase, and you can use an organic solvent like what is it? God damn it, dimethyl. Shit. I have enough coffee. Hold on, organic solvents. It's dimethyl something. I cannot for the life of me remember. All right, sulfoxide, that's one of them. What's the organic solvent? It starts with this dimethyl something. Because I think it's the one that I use. Or no, maybe I'm tripping. DMSO? It might have been DMSO. Yeah. So basically, an organic solvent. So something that's not water. Okay. Dimethyl whatnot. That's what it was. It was dimethyl whatnot. Dimethyl sulfoxide. So, so what you end up doing, right? You have what's known as an aqueous phase, and you have the organic phase. And when I mean phase, I just so happen to have conveniently here 2 containers. Okay. All right. So this is your separatory funnel. When your solution here contains, just say your pill of aspirin, it's going to separate itself by polarity. The cellulose that is used as a binder has a different polarity than the actual active ingredient. So, for instance, let's say, and this depends on whatever solvent system you're using. Now, water has a density of 1.00. And so we're going to say that the organic solvent that you're using has a density of 1.5. Okay. So that means your organic solvent is essentially a bit heavier, a bit denser than your water. So your water is going to be up here since it's lighter, and your organic solvent is going to be down here. Now, here's where the polarity comes in. This isn't for G-Man. This is for people who have an IQ over 60. Okay. Here's what ends up happening. Now, my pill is dissolved, but you see that both of these phases aren't clear. There's stuff that's diluted in both of them. Okay. My binder, which is nonpolar, is going to be up here with the water. So it goes, because I was trying to remember what phase mine was in, but you can, in some cases, depending on the polarity. And so typically, Alba, you would think that the more polar one would be with the water, but that's not always the case. That is not always the case. You can have an organic solvent that is more polar than water, but it won't be miscible with water. I know it sounds weird, but that's where chemistry gets fucking crazy. So for this example, we're going to say that the organic solvent is going to be the nonpolar one. Okay, so we'll say something with less than the polar one. We'll say something with only 2 carbon chain. Yeah, like a 2 or 3 carbon. Because I think once you get to 4 carbon, that's when the polarity starts not playing a biggest role. So something low carbon chain, organic solvent that's denser than the water. My binder is going to be up here with the water. Okay, and then the more polar active ingredient is going to be down here. So when you separate them, I can drain out the bottom, get my polar shit down here, my non-polar shit, excuse me, down here with my active ingredient and pull it out. And then the rest of this I can chunk. You can take your solvent that has your active ingredient and you can put it in a distillation apparatus and burn it off. And then you'll just have residue. And you can scrape that residue out and actually weigh that residue, and that'll be your 50 milligrams or your 100 milligrams or whatever. That's how you actually determine that. And so what will be interesting is, and I'm not sure if I could get any of this stuff, dropping G-Man boxes. Yes. If I'm curious, part of me is very curious, if you were to actually take a pill, let's say the pill said it's, 100 milligrams. I can find the polarity. I can find the molecular structure of amygdalin. I can determine its polarity based on its structure. I don't know. This one, it may be fairly nonpolar. Just based on, I'm not really great at just looking at it and being able to tell. It's a 50-50 fucking chance, but I'm not the best at that. I'd have to actually consult. Although Stock Savage, just looking at, would you be able to realize or recognize whether or not it's polar? I'm thinking that it looks like it has a pretty even distribution of hydroxides. No. Oh no. But we can determine the polarity of it. I mean, there's different ways of doing that too, like testing, but you determine whatever solvent system you're going to use, and then we can see how much is actually in there. We can actually determine that. And I'm curious if they actually accurately depict how much per milligram is in each pill. Because like Doc Savage said earlier, they don't actually regulate that shit. So there's no, they could be selling you a pill that says 100 and it could be 50. You never know. Which would be great. Which would be awesome. But Oh, I'm looking at something, some kind of arm. Wait. Lateral advocates in the United States include Dean Burke, a former chief chemist of the National Cancer Institute Cytochemistry, and national arm wrestling champion Jason Vale, who claimed that his kidney and pancreatic cancers were cured by eating apricot seed. Vale was convicted in 2004, among other things, of fraudulently marketing Laetrile as a cancer cure. The court also found that Vale had made at least $500,000 from fraudulent sales of Laetrile. Man, so that evil pharmaceutical company trying to cheat people out of money. Good thing we have people like Jason Vale cheating people out of their money doing the same thing. It is crazy. No, that was that's not Thunder. That's jets from the local Air Force base. That's what that is. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But people do crazy shit for money, even endanger people's lives. So, part of me is actually very curious. I would like to work with Miglin. Just to see. Oh, it's soluble. Yep, it's soluble in water. Oh, so it is. Okay, then it is polar then. Why isn't G-Tart in here refuting this info? I know, right? I mean, if he knows more than me, I would love to learn. I would definitely love to learn. Oh, I think I see why it's polar here on this illustration. They're using the chair model. Oh, yeah, it's easy to see. Okay, yeah, because you have that benzene ring on the far right side. And you have all of your, what is that? I can't remember. I can never remember what that one's called. Is that double bound? No. COOH. I know that's no, it's not. It can't be a carboxylic acid because it needs to be double bound. I don't know. Yeah. Did you learn anything about vaccines from Gary? Yes, I learned. I learned that they're bad and they contain babies, and that you could turn into a lizard man. You can definitely turn into a lizard man if you take just one vaccine. Don't smoke any of the vaccines, people. Don't smoke them at all. Yeah, that's one of the shitty things about this is that folks are being taken advantage of as far as their desperation. And I happen to know folks who, you know, they get desperate. They trying to find solutions that aren't going to put them into debt, you know, for the rest of their lives. And so they see, oh man, there's this miracle pill, and you know the medical industry doesn't want you to know, and they fall for shit like that because they're desperate. And we have a broken medical system. You know, some of the folks are good folks just looking for a way out of their situation, and then you have idiots that are perpetuating this shit who don't know the ass from a hole in the ground at all. That's why I didn't care for people like Michael Land, because I don't know how many people here remember Michael Land, but Michael Land was an RN who worked on her own in some capacity, and she would load people up with vitamin C. And so she swore like these overdoses of vitamin C would cure cancer and Alzheimer's and all other kind of shit. And it's like, so how many oranges I got to shove up my ass to revive somebody, you know? And it's just, she didn't like that too much. They keep consuming B17. Their ass will soon be on hole in the ground. Yeah, they will be. If you consume enough, consume a few hundred every day, you'll find out real quick. Yeah. It's just that's the fucking truth. Like, you will see real motherfucking quick. Consume a few hundred milligrams every day. So your daily vitamins, weird. I've been able to survive this entire time without it. This entire time.
All right. So I want to do the B17 argument, diet and exercise and things like that versus chemotherapy. I would like to debate one of you or both of you at the same time on this particular topic, because I
would like to talk over both of you.
Some of these people seem to thrive a little bit better when they got help in the room. So if Mel's in the room with Doc, maybe Doc can work with her weaknesses and, vice versa and whatnot. And they can help each other, because Doc Savage does say a lot of things that are just not true when he's talking to me.
Whatnot.
Doc's from another country, Mel's from here. So they should work pretty well with each other. So that's challenge number one. You don't feel comfortable talking about cancer because you don't think you know anything about the topic. If Mel or Doc Savage would like to engage in a one-on-one debate on vaccines, you say, I'm getting ready to start a pretty aggressive campaign against vaccines on this YouTube channel. And I mean aggressive. I've really been looking into this topic. Of course,
you've been watching YouTube.
I watch a lot of videos. We'll see about that. I want to really debate somebody who's knowledgeable about this. I mean, Mel has 4 degrees. Yes.
Mel does have 4 degrees, but none of them are in immunology. She does know certain techniques as far as working with antibodies. She is familiar with immunology, but she'll be the first person to tell you that they're very, mind you, this is not me criticizing Mel. This is something that people know. When you understand immunology, that means you've taken specific coursework in immunology, and that you are intimately familiar because you've personally worked with antibodies. You personally worked with various types of antibodies. You've worked with various types of immune cells. You've worked with manipulating the immune system of different organisms. There's a lot that goes into that, and I really can't overstate how much knowledge and skill that you need to really. I mean, you need to be, I think the best word maybe adroit. Like your level of mastery needs to be on motherfucking point, because that's one of those topics that you can't just kind of gloss over it. I can gloss over me explaining the mechanism of action for this interaction for the Wittig reaction or Diels-Alder or whatever. When it comes to immunology, it's one of those you know it or you don't, and you got to know it well. Try similes instead. No, they still don't understand that. You understand that? But that's when people tell me that they understand immunology, I have to laugh, because it's the people who do understand it are people more than likely they're taking coursework in it. They work in the field, or they work side by side with someone who's an immunologist or an epidemiologist or somebody in that capacity. I, for one, will not sit here and tell you that I have a strong grasp of immunology at all. I know some of the basics, but I can barely remember all of the facets. That's why part of this paper that I'm looking at it's a bit of a challenge. I'm familiar with CD8. I'm familiar with some of the aspects of what goes on here. I'm familiar with PD-1 because I'm familiar with the apoptosis mechanism of cells. But that's from me actually knowing about that way ahead of time, and from other papers, and from that's part of my coursework. But immunology is a whole host of a different fucking beast. Doc Savage can tell you. So there's a handful of people here that I know who actively work with immune cells. That's Doc Savage, Scientist Sam, and I think there may be one other person I'm leaving out. But those are the only 2 that I can think of offhand that have a strong understanding of the immune system. So when he says that he's looking into this topic, folks, he's watching YouTube videos. Now, I have watched countless YouTube videos on the immune system. I've taken microbiology twice. didn't transfer. And let me tell you, you can watch as many fucking videos as you want to. That is a tough ass topic. And when somebody, especially like somebody who's an anti-vaxxer, says, "Oh yeah, I've done my research." Really? Word? Tell me how your immune system works. Just give me an overview how your immune system works. Well, when you have a cold, the virus carries a bacteria with it, and the bacteria gets in your lungs, and the virus shrivels up, and the bacteria multiplies, and you cough up the bacteria in your snot, and like you hear stupid shit like that. And it's like that's definitely not how that works. And so Drag, you made that up? No, that's actually something somebody said. They some weird like conjunction with bacteria and viruses, some weird, anyway, you'll hear shit like that. It doesn't instill a whole lot of confidence in me. Yeah, virus bacteria symbiote. Yeah, but I don't have a whole lot of confidence in his ability to repeat back how your immune system. But I would be genuinely shocked. Actually, while people are, did y'all actually get the notification? Because I just been sitting here talking, and I forgot to ask that. I was talking to my cousin. Did y'all actually get a notification? Because I just said fuck it. I'm just talking. No. Okay, people just randomly came across. Oh well. So I want to hear him describe how his own immune system works. I don't want him to read off a fucking table, contents from whatever. I don't want him to sit there and repeat what somebody might have said on YouTube. I want him to show me the fruits of his labor. If you've been doing your research with your little gay ass bike in the background, show the people. Because when I answer questions, I don't, unless I say, okay, well, let me go look this up. Does it bother me? I'm going to try to recollect it best as I can, because I know for me, I don't mind getting shit wrong. There's a lot of stuff I got to remember on any given day. So this helps me remember it even better. But he can't do that. Drag, that sounds familiar. How Jillian Epperly, I don't know who that is, thinks the disease work, except she said virus is piggybacking off of Candida albicans, or vice versa. Now, there are cases where viruses will hide inside bacterium, but have them kind of go and then infect something else. That's quite, I won't say rare, but that's not how it typically works. When you have viruses that infect bacterium, they make them explode almost immediately. I'm not sure if there are too many viruses that are lysogenic. I'm sure that they're out there, but then go on to infect us. I'm not sure if it works that way, because things that are lysogenic in general they'll skip the middleman. They'll just come to us. So never learned. I don't know what the fuck Jilly Juice is, but it sounds nasty. Immune system function is a presupposition. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, phages. Yeah. Phages don't impact us like they do bacteria, if that makes sense. So like a T5 or T4 phage will destroy bacterium like that. And it will definitely spread to others in the area, but their cycle isn't like, so to give you an example, when I mean lysogenic, because you have lytic viruses, you have lysogenic viruses. Lysogenic viruses will sit and they'll stay dormant for months and years and shit like that. Lytic ones will get inside of the cell, cabbage juice, the fuck, and they will multiply instantly. They will use the enzymes in that cell to pretty much rupture them and then spread out and go find other bacterium and then cause them to pop. as opposed to something like the herpes virus, which stays dormant inside of. Once it integrates into your DNA, it'll stay there for a while. Jilly juice is fermented cow. Yeah, it sounds like kimchi juice. I mean, I can go drink some kimchi juice all day. That's delicious. But jilly juice, ew. So what is jilly juice supposed to do? What is fermented cabbage juice supposed to do? Other than clean your bowels, it should definitely do that. It should clean your bowels pretty well. Which is, if it's not a complete cleanse, it can be pretty good. It can be pretty good. You're not supposed to clean out your bowels, by the way. Not like, unless you have like, if it's impacted, yes. But doing a complete flush of everything that's in your bowels, no, you are not supposed to do that. That there's bacteria in your GI system that's supposed to be there. She claims you can grow back limbs. Really? I'm pretty sure this idiot listens to some stupid shit like that too. That's not how that works, folks. That is not okay. All right. Your cells will grow tissue back to a limited degree, but there is something called contact inhibition amongst other a huge issue where there's no actual programming for you to grow back bone. And when I mean grow back, I mean once the bone has been broken off, there's nothing to instruct the osteocytes to form the same, like to go to that same length and then to connect with the tendons and ligaments and whatever else was supposed to be attached to it. There's no actual programming to do that. That's a huge issue. So, and I don't want to gloss over that. That's just not how. I've never heard of some of this stuff. Like, I deal with stupidity, but I've never heard of jilly juice. But so some of these folks, when they say shit like this, I love to ask them Jeff Holiday's series on it. Y'all, why y'all make me watch AIDS? If one of my Patreons puts it on there, I will do a drag reacts to jilly juice. But that just sounds like AIDS. It's a cure for amputation and homosexuality. Man, you can get straight and fucking fixed from that stuff. That's the piss woman. I heard of some woman saying that she drinks her own piss because it's healthy. I can't imagine what she does with other bodily fluids. But Dr. Phil asked her if she can prove it, and she said that you can't disprove it. Oh, there we go. Shifting the burden of proof. Okay, of course. Drinking 2 or 3 cups will literally kill you. How much fucking salt does it have in it? Jesus. Talk about fucking hypotoxic shit. Hey, fuck ton. There's a reason you're not supposed to drink seawater, folks. I'm just saying. That whole osmosis thing is a bitch. Each cup is 10 times the daily limit of sodium. Word. Limit of sodium. So let's see what the daily limit is. Holy fuck. Oh, so hold on. Wait, so your daily allotment of sodium is supposed to be around 2,300 milligrams, right? 2,300 vitamin sodium. That's crazy. No more than that's your max. Your max is supposed to be 2,300 milligrams, but 10 times that much, man. Come the fuck on. Really? Just take all the salt. That's crazy. Yeah, there's a reason y'all not supposed to drink seawater. You know. You do, yeah, and so if without going too much into physiology, salt is used to help regulate things such as cardiac function. There are particular channels. Remember, and I was talking about this earlier with cells having different ion channels. One of them is a sodium ion channel. Now imagine if your body is regulating the amount of sodium it has to take in order to fire off these signals. if you dump a bunch of it in there, what do you think is going to happen? Other than osmosis, which is going to dehydrate the fuck out you, but you're going to throw that shit off. Way, way bad. But these folks know way more. They have all the best words. So
4 of them. And I mean, the stuff that she must know about the cancer issue and the vaccines must be very vast. And maybe I'll learn something from
nuts do have protein
and
in
as
them,
well
yes.
as Doc Savage, who actually got a little offended because I said that he was doing that the only reason he was working with cancer or whatever.
I'm not sure how much they have, but
is he can make a good paycheck. So this would be an opportunity for these people to be, how can I put this, so that they can redeem themselves from that horrible challenge I had from negation of P.
Why are they
we're talking about negation of P and while we're waiting for an answer from those guys, which I don't believe I'm going to get a yes on, because I'll tell you why I'm not going to get a yes. I'll tell you all that.
You're a loser.
Later, but I don't want this video to be too long because I want you to know who to respond to this. Even though he's going to do it anyway. What was I say about negation? Negation said in a Google Hangout on that other channel that he said he pitied me and I kept begging him to debate me.
Oh, that's a good question, Jeff.
Why don't you show everybody our email exchange?
Okay.
Because that ain't how.
So that's actually a good question, Jeff. Let me actually read this off for people who can't see. So Jeff Pasick says, where does this nonsense about fetal tissue and vaccines come from? All right. So if you don't know that there are certain cell lines that come from fetal tissue that are sometimes used as a medium to test certain compounds, to test certain medical interventions in, and to test the viability of cells, and just to act as a kind of a playing field to watch some of these biochemical interactions. Routinely, you'll see stuff like fetal bovine serum, which is exactly what it fucking sounds like: fetal bovine, and the serum that comes from it. When you have a particular cell line, like the one that I work with, which was human embryonic kidney cells, HEK293, specifically, those are exactly what they fucking sound like: human embryo kidney cells. Yes, in a lot of the vaccines and a lot of other medical interventions, you will have certain remnants sometimes, or it might be a part of the actual serum. That's a routine thing. We can duplicate these cells for a variety of purposes, and some people have a kind of an iffy feeling about us just having any access to or us manipulating embryonic tissue or working with fetal tissue. Some of these are donated from people who have abortions, people who have miscarriages. They can sign off and have them stored and shipped and used for biomedical purposes. So yes, in some cases you will have that, but you're not going to have, and let me be very explicit, you're not going to have chunks of baby floating around in your vaccine. That's I think that's when people hear that, they think that there's a little piece of baby flesh just floating in the vaccine and they're injecting it into you. No, that's not what happens. That's not how that works. So you may have a part of the serum that the cells were in, but you're not going to have, like I said, little baby feet or something like that, little ground up baby feet in there. But it's unfortunately that's how we come across certain pathways. That's how we have to work, because these particular cells are really good at being malleable. They're great for trying to study things because you can manipulate them in a variety of ways that pluripotent cells won't operate in. So to draw a distinction, you can induce pluripotency in a cell where, let's see here. I'm going to draw this for y'all. Okay. All right. So here we have a stem cell, and your stem cell These are both stem cells. You can have a stem cell, and it can turn into one of these two daughter cells. These two daughter cells can either turn into this cell, or this one can turn into three different ones. We can get this one here and bring it back up here, and that's when I talk about pluripotent. That's what I mean. We can induce the reverse transformation and bring them back here, but they're not that great, right? This is the best one because they haven't been transformed yet. They haven't gone down any pathway, but you get stem cells, embryonic stem cells from, guess what? Embryos. So people are kind of iffy about that. And unfortunately, there's only a few ways to kind of get them. Not that people are grinding up babies or anything like that, but, abortions happen, miscarriages happen. What do you think happens to medical waste? Because at that time, it's medical waste. It gets incinerated, destroyed. Rather than just throwing that away, we're going to put it to use to create some life-saving medical intervention so that other people can live, and then hopefully we can prevent whatever caused that to happen, not to happen anymore. So it's hard to try and communicate this to people who don't fully understand what's going on. And to be fair, some of them get fear-mongered into not understanding. It's a sad state of affairs, but I don't have an issue with it. That's just me. We turn a blind eye to a lot of things. If you're one of those people, I guess, who just truly value human embryonic tissue over actual people, then I want to tell you. But it's, to me, more efficacious to use what we have rather than to just kind of let these issues linger. Because if we can work with the best material available from unfortunate circumstances, then we're making the best of our situation. The people that you see who are anti-vax and they make a big deal out of that, you don't have to know a whole of a hell lot about it, but just ask them, do you like which drug company are saying that there are chunks of babies in their vaccine, and or are they talking about there being embryonic serum from a cow, or did they test this in human embryonic cells? It's very specific, and so when people start speaking generalities like that, that's when the light bulb goes up, and I go, okay, what's actually going on here? Okay. So that's kind of what actually, does anybody else have any questions? Actually, if y'all do want to have a conversation about vaccines, Doc Savage, you want to field some questions, and I could just get a regular hangout started or a Discord, and we can go over some of that stuff. Dragon Fundies think that stem cells are a front to their God over authority. That's fine. I mean, they can be offended by that. That's perfectly fine with me. I am more concerned with people having solutions for problems. I'm more concerned with folks who have children that are born with these congenital disorders having some type of recourse, having something that they can do rather than sitting and watching their child suffer. Like there's a facility, almost an hour away from me, actually less than an hour away from me, where there's kids that are suffering because they had some genetic abnormality that's causing them to have cancer, and then they're at that facility because that is their last stop. There's nowhere else for them to go to receive some type of treatment because that's it. That is it. Do you think the cure for cancer will come from stem cell field? Probably, yeah. More than likely. Amongst other fields, another field it'll come from, bioinformatics is going to have a huge influence, especially when we start getting into network medicine. And the more we understand how these different systems interact, I think it'll give us a better ability to elucidate their mechanisms, because The issue with cancer is that it becomes metastatic. If cancer's in one spot, you can attack it. You can pull it out. It's not a big deal. But because it has a penchant for intravation, I think it's intravation, because it's intravation, I believe it's called. There's a specific word used. Okay. Anyway, when a piece of it detaches and it goes through the lymphatic system, it has a nasty ability to stop at an area, rupture through the lymphatic system, and implant itself in a different tissue. Because you have to think about it, your lymphatic system runs all throughout your body for the most part. And once it reaches another tissue, it stops there, and then you have colonization. And so once you have that colonization, it'll start to proliferate, and then from that tissue, it'll start growing. So that's why you'll find, fucking liver cells in lung tissue that has metastasized, because it traveled. And of course, if you're talking about any type of system that runs throughout your body, guess where that stuff needs to go to? Sometimes your lungs. So it's interesting. Intravasation, I think that's the word that I was looking for. Intravasation. Thank you. Yeah, intravasation, the invasion of cancer cells through the basal membrane in your blood or lymphatic system. That's what I was describing. I could not remember the name. I knew I was close. Intravasation. That is a problem, because how do you stop it from happening? It is a part of your body's ability to launch immune cells. That's what that whole highway is for, is to help launch immune cells. But if cancer is using that as a highway to get from your liver to your lungs, well, how do you stop that? How do you go about doing that? So one of the things that people are doing now is trying to prime the immune system to find it, because if that's the highway for the immune system, and your immune system can't tell that this cell that's traveling along it, because it's not abnormal. It's not abnormal for cells to go, in there. Certain cells, not all cells, certain cells to go through there. Then hell, why would they pick up on it? Why would they, phagocytose it or induce apoptosis or whatever the fuck they do? And that's why I have to laugh when I hear some of these guys talk about, well, it targets only the cancerous cells. Well, hold on for a second. So you mean to tell me that your immune system, that has literally had tens of thousands of years to develop, that is really great at doing this, it has specific enzymes on other cells to recognize self. They're called major histocompatibility complexes. By the way, you can look up MCH or MHC1, MHC2, and follow along what I'm saying. It has specific enzymes on the surface to show that this is self, don't attack me. But the compound that you're telling me that has no ability to recognize those type of receptors can somehow specifically target it, but your immune system that has literally that built into it can't do it. That's really strange. So here's what has to happen in my mind. There's another, because if the major histocompatibility complex is fucked up, there's no reason for your immune system to even think that there's anything wrong. Because how does your body know unless there's some type of massive, mutational fucking burden that has occurred, or I should say alteration. There's a major genetic alteration because of whatever the initial mutation was, that it's changed the way that the major histocompatibility complexes present themselves, or they don't present themselves at all. So if that doesn't happen, then your cell has your immune system has no way of even knowing that there's something going on. So how does this laetrile, this amygdalin, what does it bind to? Does it go inside the cell? Does it operate on one of the enzymes on the outside, or one of the protein channels on the outside of it? What does it actually do? How does it get inside the cell? Because I looked at that molecule. That molecule is fucking big. Like, it's huge. How does it get inside? I want it, if it gets inside, how does it get inside? If it doesn't get inside, how does it interact with the cell to induce apoptosis? That's what I want to know. That's I don't understand when any of these guys tell me this, what actually happens, because I'm always very specific. Tell me the mechanism of action for this, because I'm pretty sure I can understand it. I'm at a point now where if you explain it to me, I will understand it. If it doesn't make sense, I'm going to tell you it doesn't make sense. But none of them can tell me. I would love Kent Hovind or the retard or fucking True, one of these guys who love to watch me and love to imitate me, explain to me genuinely what actually happens. What happens when you have this molecule that for some reason gets cleaved by rodinase and turned into thiocyanate, other than just killing any cell through competitive inhibition? What happens? But I know that they know nothing about that. So when I bring this stuff up to the idiot, like I did in another conversation, it went right over his head because he had no idea what I was talking about. So they get mad when I question their intelligence. Well, I'm like, I'm sorry. One of us is actually trying to legitimately learn this stuff, because it is difficult at times. It, like learning, because I forgot. I knew what the word was, but I forgot all the letters to it. You know, let me pull a Gmail. I got the because it's a noun and I got the wrong noun. I got it wrong. Yes, you did. But it takes more than watching a YouTube video to get this shit. And if you did learn something today, then you're welcome. I thought I talked about this stuff already. I could have swore I talked about this stuff already.
I haven't asked you one time. I asked you one time. One time. You was okay with it. I didn't beg to do anything. One time. Why don't you show all of your friends a quick screenshot of the conversation that we had over email? You'll quit, and that'll prove everything. Because if you don't do it,
Apoptosis, many letters. Yes, it does.
Because I have a copy of it. You just got to remember that I have a copy of it, and right next to the copy are the dates. No, I didn't beg you to do anything. You were just trying to save face. So why don't you just accept what happened, try to get better at these things, and then try again a little bit later, maybe next year or something. Maybe with another person or something. I don't know. But Mel and Doc, if you guys do accept this challenge, the only thing I got to say to you is you need to come with your own arguments. Don't come to me with don't come after me with like what other atheists say. If you have a conviction that vaccines are necessary and you wish to change my mind, then you need to be you. Coming here using somebody else's argument, because I heard it before, you're going to look just like negation. All right? So, the challenge is out there. I challenge Scientist Mel or Doc Savage, or both of them at the same time against me. I don't want no help, and I don't need no help.
Yeah.
I will take on these guys by myself. I will take the full responsibility for the thrashing that I will get for not wanting help. I will say this again publicly so that nobody, because I know you guys download these videos and whatnot. I will take full responsibility for the thrashing that I will get if I walk into a debate with these two people not prepared. I should know definitions like cancer. I should know the treatments. I should know how the treatments work. I should know how it affects our cells, the healthy cells, the bad cells. I should know all of this stuff by the time I actually debate these guys. So, first of all, if you accept this challenge, I'm asking the both of you to, I don't know if you can collaborate a video. Maybe you can Let's see who's watching right now. Vladimir's watching this. Agrippa's watching this. Maybe if you can tell Vladimir or Agrippa or one of these guys who watch me regularly that you accept, and they'll get it back to me, or you can go on a YouTube channel like the Sequitur Show, or like you know whose YouTube channel, or one of those guys and whatnot, and I'll find out.
Whatnot.
Every now and then I do take a peek at what they're doing. So
they said no, fuck
or
you.
somebody can shoot me a link and show me what they got to say.
I could show you a
sorry,
screenshot
man.
from both of them saying fuck off.
Or is that Dragnet using a sock account?
I don't watch a shit.
So what's the challenge? I mean, what is your answer going to be? Or is Doc Savage knowledgeable enough to have a debate about this topic? I mean, don't get me wrong. Doc Savage has been on this channel. He's talked to me about the cancer issue. The question is can he prove that chemotherapy is a better option than B17? I want you to listen to this now. Is chemotherapy a better option than B17 and some of these other alternative methods to treat cancer? We can even discuss what types of cancer. We can talk about leukemia. We can talk about various different kinds of cancer.
Come on.
Let's see which one of these treatments is better for treating these methods and why. If you accept this debate, again, I have to hear about it somehow. You got to tell me. I got to get a link. I got to get something so that I can know that she is.
Later,
Don't watch Scientist Mel's channel.
Let's close my door.
I caught maybe 2 episodes of her talking about things on her channel, which I don't even remember. Then we have Doc Savage, a man who believes that water is not a nutrient. Hopefully he'll repent of that. Change his mind of that.
He'll repent of that.
Debating, because I might actually bring that up, because water is going to play a big role in what I'm going to be arguing. So we'd love to hear
Guy's retarded.
What he's got to say about it. So I'm excited. I mean, let's see what those guys got to say. Again, I want to say this again. I want to take full responsibility for the thrashing that I might get from debating 2 educated people like that. You know, I don't know nothing about cancer.
He needs their legitimacy.
Video on his channel. I don't know nothing about this topic. No. As a matter of fact, I think I know enough to be able to deal with these guys at the same time. I think I know enough about the vaccine arguments for and against in order to have a debate with these guys. I am not going to talk to nobody about what I'm going to say before the debate. So don't try to squeeze it out of me. Okay? Don't even bring it up, because I'm not going to talk to you about it. Oh, here we go. Vladimir says, G-Man, read this. Mel does not want to interact with you. Doc Savage might.
Doc Savage don't either.
Respected him a lot lately already. Now, let me tell you what my prediction is of Vladimir, because that was the part that I was supposed to get to next. About my prediction about Mel and Doc and whether or not they're going to accept this challenge. Because there is a third name that I'm going to throw in here. It might be Redline, but he probably doesn't want to interact with me too. Let me just get my camera ready for this. The reason why they're not going to accept this challenge is going to be because it's going to be, I don't have a degree. I'm not worth their time. I want you guys to hear this now.
Those are 2 really good reasons.
I'm not worth their time. And that's about it. They're going to boast and brag about how important they are. They're going to boast and brag about just like how busy they are and how educated they are. And that's going to be their number one excuse for not wanting to debate me on this topic. There's a problem with that, ladies and gents, though. There's a big problem with that. And let me get into this. This guy finished debating somebody who's a college professor, and you see what happened to this college professor. Your education ain't got nothing to do with whether or not you want to debate me on this topic. In some cases, I believe I know more about this than both of them. That's why I don't mind both of them working together to come after me. In some cases, I believe I know more about vaccines than they do, than the vaccine argumentations than they do. And I believe that I have some arguments and some points
squalene
that will blow away
pro tip
reasons for why we should get a vaccine. Like I said, the most difficult person I ever had a conversation with regarding vaccines is Jade. She's the most difficult person I've ever had a conversation with about that.
He says that, but then open. Now watch this.
I said Jade was smart.
Y'all wanna see something funny? Now watch this. I'm gonna end this right here. I'm gonna send his ass another fucking invite. and watch him run from me, because I will talk to him about cancer and vaccines today, right now. Watch his ass run from me yet again. This will be number 3. All right. This will be number 3. Let me save my PowerPoint here, because I've been working on that PowerPoint as I've been talking, being productive today. Challenge of womanhood. Yeah, I should say some shit like that. Is he a bitch or is he not? I got to find the right folder first to save it into documents. PowerPoint. There we go. All right. Let the music play. You get away. Let me get the music ready. All right. Thanks for the explanation on stem cells. I don't have an issue with it either. There's a lot of craze out there. Yeah, Jeff. There's a lot of people that just don't understand it, and some of them are just scared because they hear, oh, embryonic stem cells. We're embryonic. They get a little iffy on it. So, I'm happy to kind of alleviate some of that, but I hope I gave a sufficient explanation as to what's going on. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask it. If I don't know, I'm not going to sit here and try and bullshit you. I'll defer to folks who know a lot more, because immunology is not my topic at all. You look like if Child Gambino was overweight and in his mom's basement. You could have delivered that a little bit better. You should have said I look like overweight and less successful Childish Gambino. Now, like, the way that rolls off is a lot better. That's just, it's all about delivery. It's all about delivery. Oh, I had to click on the thing. Okay. I clicked on the wrong thing. Whoops. Oh, really? All right. All right. That might sweeten the deal. All right. I won't read that out loud, but all right. Okay. This might get interesting if he shows up then. All right. Folks might get what they want. Okay. All right, folks, I'm going to end this and we'll see. Were you trying to spell the contraction? Your mom said it was about delivery. It's really sad if you're going to try and troll, at least be a troll who can spell. But damn, okay. Good try though. I give you props for trying. Yeah, he thinks he's already won, but it's weird. He wants to proclaim victory, yet while running from me. I'm not sure how that works. Someone explain that to me. So anyway.